Hi, my name is Jacob Dean. I'd like to take the time to go over with you one of the most impactful books that I've read in recent memory when it comes to leadership and management of leadership. And it is Leadership Strategy and Tactics by Jocko Willink. About Jocko, Jocko is a former Navy SEAL. He was in SEAL Team 3 that did various missions and operations in Afghanistan during the war on terrorism. Post being a Navy SEAL and being an operations expert with the military, he left the military and is a successful podcast artist. He is an author, and he's also still a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner and still does leadership and management seminars across the world to give people like myself and other managers and leaders in the world out there a chance, an opportunity to become more than themselves and give them a better advantage at seeing leadership from the perspective of a U.S. military combat veteran. What is the theme of the book, Leadership and Tactics? Number one, the book basically breaks down a lot of the key criteria in what it is expected to be a leader and be a good leader. It breaks down a lot of the good fundamentals to start with. And its key themes are in the book is what is a leader? What does it take to be one? And also, how do you successfully be a leader? It breaks down those 3 and 4 parameters in the book. And also, it breaks down fundamental key elements that will help give you a visual perspective and more of a thoughtful approach and outlook on what it takes to be a leader. So again, what is a leader? What does it take to be one? How do you successfully be a leader? Some key ideas of the book outside of the themes themselves. Jocko does a great job on identifying the fundamentals of a leader by breaking down the parameters shown below. These 3 bullet points reflect on key elements on how it is to be a leader. Number 1, leadership fundamentals. 2, building long-term relationships. And number 3, subordinating your ego. So number 1, he really breaks down leadership fundamentals as far as scrubbing it down to your base core and who you are as an individual and some of the key elements that it takes to be a leader. Number 2, building long-term relationships, building a rapport with your people, building it with your associates, building it with your team to make yourself a more successful manager and or leader. Number 3, subordinating your ego. Understanding that you don't have all the answers, you don't know everything, and that it's okay to not know everything, and it's okay to learn. You have to put your pride aside, you have to put your ego aside to make yourself more aware, embrace the red, and become a better manager. Some strengths and weaknesses of the book. Number 1 strength is the book is a great read. It is very direct, informative, and does not lead away from the main themes of what we're trying to accomplish by reading in leaderships and tactics. One of the weaknesses of the book is the fact that it gives you a leadership advice and managerial experience from a military and combat perspective, which can resonate. It's kind of one-sided and one-dimensional because it only really focuses on leadership ability and experience inside the field of battle, except when it comes to the fundamentals themselves, because obviously leaders have those fundamentals and can carry them on. But unfortunately, it is very military forward, and it doesn't really focus on how to implement some strategies and tactics within the managerial workforce and the labor field, as opposed to focusing simply on what is utilized in the combat and military field. How could it have been better? Jocko covers a lot of key points that revolve around leadership. It could have been a little less military forward, as I stated in the previous slide. It was more focused on that, and it kind of gets lost in translation with military translation as well. But Jocko's using these examples in his book as far as leadership and tactics are concerned, and a life or death situation when it comes to leadership. So obviously there is meaning and value in it, but it only focuses on the military side of it, and it's using the examples for the harshest of situations. The only positive to come out of that is it definitely gave me a more diverse thinking on some of the fundamentals and leadership, but only from a military and military tactics point of view. So that's one of the things that could have been better. It needed to be focused more on the workforce and the labor field in the military. How did it make me grow as a leader? The book itself gave me a different look on leadership. It helped me acknowledge some crucial fundamentals that I may have had and some of the errors that I was making as a leader. It also gave me a platform and a building block on some of the things that I could work on fundamentally when it comes to leadership experience, leadership advice, some just different intangibles that I could have worked on, or that I can work on to be a better leader and utilize my team and lead and have a successful operation and a team. And lastly, how to not only work on myself, but how to make other people leaders and how to get them to the point where they can lead, help them up along the way, and give them the same opportunities and obstacles that I had that made and has made me a successful leader and manager. So in conclusion, in the summary of this, is I love this book. I chose this book for a reason. And granted, it has its weak points and strong points when it comes to this class and what it's trying to do for the project and this assignment. But I think it's a good tool to utilize in terms of visual food for looking at some of the things that you can work on fundamentally. And in the beginning of the book, he really breaks down fundamentals of leadership and management. And that's what I'm trying to focus on for this assignment, as opposed to some of the aggressive terminology and military stuff. I give it a 4 out of 5, and would definitely recommend the book to anybody. Really anybody who wants to get a bird's eye view on what it takes to be an American leader, as far as being a leader in the harshest of environments and the harshest of elements, whilst maintaining that level of fundamental soundness to also execute not only in combat and in military operations, but to run a successful operation and be a leader for your team, and also manage, operate, and help your team get to a point where they are also fundamentally sound and fundamental leaders. Thank you for your time. Sorry, I know this is a little long-winded, and thank you. Appreciate it.